And this is probably the only reason I'm even attempting to do the pass, because I want that helmet on Knight. And I don't even play Knight, but I like it. I'm having fun with it.
That's right. He's focusing on higher risk concerns and quality of life changes.
Problem with that. We've seen how behavior does this. If anybody remembers 9.6, their so-called buffs to certain killers were laughable. The 0.05% increase on Doctor was laughable. The 1 second here and there from Springtrap meant nothing. Behavior does small numerical changes that mean nothing, and at the same time, when they do these changes, they tend to make changes elsewhere to counterbalance it, so they really don't balance out. Springtrap, for instance, when they said, well, you can recall your axe from the environment 1 second sooner, and then they turned around and they nerfed Help Wanted ad. That balanced it out to where it didn't mean anything. You still have to run Help Wanted ad if you want the same results as you did before. Like, this is how behavior works, and this is what they don't understand. They look at data sheets and they don't understand what they're doing. So to remind people of what behavior did and the so-called quote-unquote buffs from 9.6, Doctor decreased delay of shock therapy attack to 0.75 seconds was 0.8. That's 0.5 second decrease. 0.5 seconds. A half a second. That does nothing. They don't know how to make meaningful changes. This one increased maximum chainsaw sweep speed. That's 0.10. Skull Merchant didn't even get anything. She just got new icons. Now here, if anyone remembers when I first did the first behavior video, they don't understand their game. They definitely don't understand the animatronic. I don't know who's giving them advice. This means nothing, so gotta run Help Wanted ad. This was a big mistake because now you have to run with battery consumption means absolutely nothing in low MMR, and they are highly abused in high MMR, and that is not including because I'm almost sure that this was the buff that did it. The doors are bugged. This add-on that increases axe remove time, because by the time you catch up to a survivor, if you do a long-range shot, they'll have the axe removed, and then you can't do an axe grab. So that was a nerf. These two. There's two bugs with the doors. One, the door won't turn yellow when a survivor is going through it, or the door they're going to will not turn yellow, and you no longer get that double beep notification from when a survivor is traveling through the door. Because behavior will listen to two things. The whiny survivor mains who feel entitled to win every game, and then they'll listen to data sheets. And they don't understand the data sheets because they don't understand why it's in the data sheet.
And as always, not intended to shake up the meta in a meaningful way.
We're looking for those for mid-chapters.
That's right. So mid-chapters. It's going to be much bigger in scale, and we're looking to be more and more impactful in this regard. Primarily killer and perk balance.
And I doubt that they will play test any of it.
Balance.
Do they not understand that the meta is the meta because it is the best at the time it's being used? Right now, a lot of gym block builds I've seen. A lot of Gen regression. Why? Because that's the best. When Survivor's over here insta-healing off a hook, what else are you supposed to run? Gens are still flying. And then their incompetence in stuff like diminishing returns, including metas like hyper-focus stakeout with deja vu. Diminishing returns doesn't affect any of that, and so gens can still fly. Shane's new perk, Lend a Hand, matched with Jill's Resurgence, insta-heal off hook. Like, it baffles me that they cannot understand that the meta is the best. At least at that time. Nobody's out here running, I don't know, Spies from the Shadows or Whispers
And then also, we're going to start focusing more on different aspects of gameplay. So that could vary from, is there too much gen focus? Is there too much healing focus? Is there...
This is incredibly disingenuous. Healing focus, like I said, they can heal off a hook. It doesn't matter. Is there gen focus? Yeah, they had full-on gen-breaking builds. Games can still last only 3-4 minutes if the survivors really want. Their data should show this, but if they also played the game, they would also know this.
Not enough hook-on-hook interactions. Is there not enough end gameplay?
Hook interactions. And I don't like that because that makes me think, well, are killers hooking enough? Killers are slugging right now for a reason. Killers are slugging because it is considered the better option than hooking. Yeah, pain res activates for a hook if you can get to a scourge hook. But then there's like 10-12 perks from survivors that also activate when they get unhooked. So, pain res, you get 4 attempts if you can make it to a scourge hook, which behavior doesn't seem to understand that when killers have to like bend over backwards and break both legs and juggle to get a perk to activate, it's not, no matter how strong it is, it's too much. Like only getting 4 things of pain res, if you can even make it to a scourge hook. God forbid you get a Sabo build or anti-hook build Swift, you will never get the pain res to activate. Behavior does not understand their own game.
So we're going to focus changes around similar mechanics to give players an opportunity to explore them. That's what we're trying to do in general.
Let's understand that is not killers, that is survivors.
We'll talk to, we have the outside people we work with.
When they say outside people, they're talking about their content creators from the creator program. The creator program cannot be trusted. The creator program is corrupt. And anyone who's going to get pissed off about that because, Otz is in it, or Hinge is in it, or Lilith is in it, f*** off. The creator program is corrupt. Whether you like the people in it or not is irrelevant. What I mean by it's corrupt is that they get paid to be in the creator program. Being in the creator program means you get a creator code. You make money off of that. Behavior is paying you through the creator code. Like, the Black Banquet, you'd see people like, okay, I'm not going to play it, okay, or this, I don't want to say anything, or it was the milquetoast, warmest, softest criticisms I had ever seen. But a lot of the creators, you will notice, especially the killer ones, do not rock the boat. They might have behavior should do this, or, behavior should do that, while the game is going up in flames. Because behavior made a point to show what happens when you criticize them, which is what happened to Refined. He criticized them too, quote-unquote, harshly. They can't take criticism for They got mad, they kicked him out of the program, and they made him an example to the other creators in the program. Hey, if you criticize us too much or too harshly, we will kick you out of the program. And again, because they get paid, they are being as gentle and soft with behavior as they can. That is corruption. That is called a conflict of interest. You can't rightly sit here and say you have this game's interest at heart when the developers are paying you through the creator codes saying, you can give us feedback, but don't give us too harsh feedback. Don't give us, too critical of feedback. Kind of pat their heads, be nice. And then nothing gets done because the creators are so under their control because they are getting paid. That is the problem. That is why it's corrupt. This giant conflict of interest through money. So I don't give a if you like Lilith and I don't give a if you like Otz. I like both of them. I don't trust them to keep this game afloat anymore. Because they'll talk about cheaters, they'll talk about, they'll stream it, they'll play it. but they don't give the harsh criticisms that behavior has to have to wake up. They either don't criticize at all, they ignore the problems, or they just give them like a soft pat on the head. The only creator I have seen so far who has actually said anything was Scott Jund, and Scott, as much as I like him, he is still giving soft criticisms. He is not giving the harsh criticisms that behavior needs to hear. Yeah, he said like Black Banquet was dog. Yeah, everyone said that. What about the rest of the game? Like, there are serious issues in this game, and the creators aren't saying anything out of fear of being kicked out because then they lose money. It's called conflict of interest. The creator program is corrupt from the start.
Content creators who give us information and feedback. So that's where it starts. They flag issues, they flag concerns. We try to be data-driven.
Which, by the way, this is also bullshit, because it only seems to apply to survivors. Springtrap has several bugs, one of which is so bad, it almost makes him unplayable.
In the sense of, does the data confirm or deny what they're saying? If it doesn't match up, that doesn't suggest there isn't a problem. It means maybe the problem isn't as obvious as you think it is. So then we explore and we try to find newer, better explanations for where players are experiencing friction points.
It's not just data. It's not just sentiment. It is a combined mix of.
It is a combined mix of sentiment and data. It is a combined mix of their data and survivor players crying. That is what they're saying.
That's right. That's right. For this update, as I said before, limited to just tunables, so these are just numerical changes. We got buffs and we have some nerfs. For the buffs, on the killer side, we're looking at buffing, Call of Brine, Save the Best for Last.
Problem 2. Call of Brine. Time moves from 70 to 90 seconds, I believe. That means nothing. So what? Call of Brine will not be active if somebody is working on the generator, obviously. The second, it means nothing. Save the Best for Last. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, they don't know how to buff killer in a way to not make survivors cry. Save the Best for Last, they said they didn't know what the numbers were. Shocking. A nurse is calling. Now you can see when someone on the ground is being healed. That should never have been changed in the first place. Now they gotta reverse it.
And nurse is calling. Sure.
Do we need the numbers? I can't read them with my glasses on. Okay, so
let's get to it. They didn't say much about the buffs for this. I mean, nobody is gonna use these regardless. Adrenaline is already overpowered in in-game. That did not need a buff. I could tell you, as somebody who's been playing a lot more Survivor lately, I have seen Adrenaline save people in in-game. I've seen Adrenaline get 4K out. So that's what they're buffing. Debuffs, nowhere to hide. Not really. That doesn't mean much. Choleraphobia, we could thank Hens for that. No, Hex Thrill of the Hunt, we can thank Hens for that. Hexes are already shit as is, but because of Hens' little stunt with Jason, now they're debuffing Hex Thrill of the Hunt. Thank you. Choleraphobia. The reason they're debuffing choleraphobia, or nerfing it, I don't know why they have debuffs. They should have just put nerfs. The reason they're nerfing choleraphobia is because choleraphobia is used for slug builds. Slug builds are so popular right now, and behavior cannot understand this. Behavior looks at their spreadsheet and survivors. Survivors are crying about slugging. They're looking and seeing that their people are slugging. The reason people are slugging behavior isn't because they want to or because they're being mean. It's because it's the better option from hooking, because you make killers run through like 10 hoops to activate a perk through hooking. You say, well, again, pain res. Pain res only works if you hit a scourge hook. So God forbid you get into a place, again, where there are no scourge hooks. You don't have a backpack build, too bad. Their teammate is a Sabo anti-hook build, too bad. You will never get pain res to activate, and it only activates 4 times. It is not worth it. Not when you compare to everything survivors get for unhooking. Again, behavior cannot understand.
There's 3. I think most players are going to be excited. I'm going to say, before I show it, small numerical changes. Don't expect a lot. But that just because we're doing it now doesn't mean we're not going to further change them in the future. This is just getting them ready to.
That's bullshit, by the way. They have made this promise since 2016 of, we're going to change it, and we'll come back to it, and they never come back to it. Vigil. Or not Vigil, Deja Vu. Deja Vu used to be dog, and then they changed it because of the 3-gen Skull Merchant. And they said, well, once we figure out how to fix 3-genning, we'll come back and we'll fix it. Did they? No. What they do, they implemented the entity blocker for generators, and then they never came back and they never fixed Deja Vu, so now we have Deja Vu the way it is. They say we will come back and work on all the time. They do not. That's a lie.
See where we need to take them in future releases.
Exactly.
Sprint Burst, Deliverance, and Vigil.
Yeah. So, Sprint Burst, 50% haste for 2 seconds instead of the 3 seconds, isn't it?
Yeah.
The only good one here is Sprint Burst. And Sprint Burst should have been fixed long before now. It hasn't been touched since, I think Scott said 2017, when it was given an exhaustion. And now it's 2 seconds instead of 3 seconds. Woo. Deliverance. You get, the broken is from 60 to 120. Wow. I've only ever seen Deliverance be a real problem in-game, and that 120 broken ain't gonna mean shit. They will still get off the hook and be able to make it out of a trial if they're close enough to the gate, or close enough to their teammates, which at high MMR, it's always typically high survivors and swifts. So they will come and body block. Vigil needs a rework. Vigil needs a rework. Not a numerical change, a rework. So, Sonarok from Jason got a huge nerf from 13 seconds to 3 seconds. Vigil, if they only change it to 44% instead of the 66%, that is 1.32 seconds. So, Sonarok will only be active for 1.68 seconds. The fact that it affects so much and so many killers is bullshit. It needs a rework. Or just have it affect exhaustion and not everything else. And stop nerfing killers who don't need nerfs. I seriously doubt they actually play the game themselves. Or if they do low MMR because they might play a couple of games a week. Because there's no way you can be playing high MMR and have this kind of foresight.
Now, twice as long, so 120 seconds with Deliverance.
Now, that's for this release.
Yeah.
We're going to have had 2 chapter releases in a row.
Yeah.
We skipped an entire chapter. That means the changes we planned for diminishing returns got delayed. But we looked at the impact we expected that to have versus the delays for changes posted debuffs.
Over 45 perks being changed. If it's numerical, that doesn't mean anything. They'll change shit in other places. Close to even between killers and survivors. That rubbed me the wrong way. There are 4 survivors, and there's 1 killer. That does not equal out. So if you do 50-50, okay, there's 4 survivors. Behavior that does not... You can't do 50-50 in an ASIM like that. Especially when survivors have so many broken perks. And you're doing the small tweaks on them.
The perks being touched are all getting side graded or better.
That should concern everybody. A side grade for behavior means it's a very, very, very small change.
Some are being reworked from the ground up, so they'll be completely different.
That depends on the perks. Because there's a lot of broken shit on the survivor side, including hyper-focused stakeout, which aren't affected by diminishing returns, by the way. But that could also be very concerning for killers, depending on what they change.
More in tune with the current reality of the game, and they'll be, that's it, modernized for the current state. For the diminishing return changes, about 2/3 of them are buffs, so there are some.
That is concerning. Because they're already making perks like lend a hand from Shane that are bypassing diminishing returns. So the killers aren't getting any perks that are bypassing diminishing returns, but survivors are. So if they turn around and buff survivor perks that they think are going around diminishing returns, it's going to turn into a bloodbath.
Perks that don't interact with diminishing returns at all because of the nature of their design, they're being overused right now.
Hyper focus and stakeout is what he's talking about.
Or they're feeling egregious to players on either side.
There is nothing on the killer side that is not hit by diminishing returns. Diminishing returns literally killed off all the fun play styles, including 2 of my builds, one which was a haste build, and another one which was an action speed build. But survivors can still insta heal off a hook. They can still like do gens in 3 to 4 minutes, if not quicker. Like there's no equivalence here. It's all one side.
Are being taken down, but far and wide, the majority of changes we're making are buffs.
And I know people are gonna come in and say something like eruption and pop. Those are not equivalent because you still have to break your ass to get those to activate. In order to get pop to activate, you have to hook somebody. It is not a I exist. They're active. Oh wow! You have to break one totem to get lend a hand to activate. Wow.
Debuffs are mostly effects that interact less dimension returns. And that's it. That's all that's on the horizon for live balance.
Paragraphs. Some people. That's what we wanted, and we wanted to keep helping people to learn and remember.
The rest of it is about the good stuff behavior is actually trying to do, like teaching survivors killer powers and perks, which is great. Everyone's been screaming at them forever to do that. It's about time. Chapter, dependent on emerging needs. There's a lot of needs right now. Small in scale, you can't do what needs to be done small in scale. High risk concerns, quality of life changes, you will do that by itty bitty tiny numerical changes that will not mean anything, and the game will still be set on fire. Like, it is burning right now and you're doing nothing except the most minuscule nothing burger changes. I don't trust y'all to know what the meta is either, because you clearly don't. And you can say, well, they'll do it in the mid-chapter. What they do in the mid-chapters is usually break more. Yeah, bigger in scale, primary killer and perk balances. And most of the time, that will mean the same as it does here, because they keep doing it over and over and over and over and over and over and over, where they do small numerical changes and call it a buff, and then leave it. Springtrap's still broken. Springtrap is having problems. I keep getting more and more Springtrap players, or people who want to, and they say, yeah, I can't play him. I cannot figure out what is going on. That's because he's bugged. He despite the fact that Howlmaster and Knight are still in the game, I am almost convinced at this point that Springtrap is by far the most bugged killer. Anyone remember the Black Banquet? I hope so, because everyone lost their goddamn minds. These are what survivors got. Not killer. Killer got one thing, and it was the fart cloud. The pseudo clown gas bottle, the big fart cloud, which was busted on some killers. Legion, especially Ghoul Legion. I saw it busted on Oni a few times. Other killers, it didn't really mean much. You got a free down or a free hit. And it had a bigger cool down time. Well, in the meantime, this is what survivors got. The stuffed trotters gain haste when finishing generators or hooking survivors. That's assuming you could hook them. Because, morsel effect, they could dash forward. That was the old Dead Heart. In case nobody can remember, because this community's memory is absolute dog. Because it seems like we can't seem to remember all the bullshit. But as soon as behavior comes out with nice sounding stuff, everyone seems to either forgive them or forget. And then they get upset and hurt when behavior fails to deliver like they always do. Old dead hard. It wasn't just an endurance, it was movement. So you would move forward a couple of meters, and you could use this to avoid hits, or make it to pallets, or make it to windows. That's what that does. Banquet payoff, heal health state, faster actions, haste near survivors. And that also included generators. You could do generators faster if you did this. Never mind the fact that insta heals, map wide insta heals. The creepypasta destroyed pallets slowly return as fragile pallets. I saw this. The first game I played was on Survivor. And I knew I was not going to be playing this on Killer because while I was working on a generator, a god pallet rebuilt itself in front of me. Yeah, I knew that was not going to be fun to play against. Reveal nearby pallets, gain temporary invincibility. The bull here. And then you still get health state, rebuild and reset pallets. Pallets are unbreakable, and that was bull too, because there were videos out of killers getting bullied, especially on Gideon. And if you don't know, Gideon has 2 god pallets by basement, and the killer could literally, especially if you were going against a Swift, the killer could be trapped between those 2 god pallets for a full minute, and they could not do anything. Yeah, you could literally put the killer in pallet jail on that map if you were in a Swift. The portal spawns. Reveal nearby portals. Temporarily become invisible. This was bullshit too, because if you had hearing problems, you couldn't hear the footsteps, you couldn't hear the grunts of pain, you couldn't hear the grass move. I lost a Wesker using this. And on top of that, again, full health state. Portal teleports randomly. Plus, refill or gain an item, and that is bullshit too, especially if you brought in a broken item like a commodious toolbox. Look! Because these global effects didn't mean killers. Like this bullshit versus one fart cloud. I played 1 game of killer. I got a 3K. It was miserable. I haven't sweated that hard since I went against a 4-man Sable squad. This was not fun. I played 1 game and then I played a few Survivor games and I was done. I just left DBD until it was over. And I still play only maybe 1 or 2 games now. Now this should tell you just how much behavior actually listens to one side of the community opposed to the other. I've seen both Survivors and Killer mains say don't touch Jason, he's fine. What'd they do? Thanks to Hins and that bullshit hex build he ran, well, they nerfed Jason. Now this is not a buff. This is they're correcting their own up. That's what this is. Because this should never have been a thing. It's just like Skull Merchant's drones couldn't be set a floor above or below a hooked survivor, which was bullshit too. And they had to go back on that. I'm guessing this wasn't an accident. They did that on purpose, and then when people complained about it, they're like, oh, it was a bug. That's normally what they do now, is if they do something the community doesn't like, oh, it was a bug. It was an accident. They're looking into it. This was busted as until this came out, and they said, oh, we know it's busted, but we're not going to fix it until the hot fix. Or the bug fix. And now survivors are, of course, crying that it's useless. It's not. Sonarock. I already went over this bullshit. The Summer Scream events. Until I saw this. Survivors holding the lantern will now see the ores of pallets, vaults, and breakable walls within 32 meters. Why the would you do that behavior? The whole point, and I should know, I run custom lights out in my Discord. The whole point of lights out is not to win. The whole point of lights out is not to be a master looper and, try to show off your skills. The whole point of lights out is to, 1, have fun. This makes it not fun for killers. The whiny, crying survivors who want to escape and win every game of lights out, this is great. Nobody else wanted this. I know survivor mains who are mad at this. Because the whole point is that you can't see. The killer can't see, the survivors can't see. That's the point. And now I also know people who are saying, yeah, I ain't touching the lantern. You gave them windows of opportunity in lights out. But on that note, you also did not give killers Zancian tactics. You gave, again, survivors are getting everything. Killers are getting nothing. You gave them windows of opportunity. You didn't give the other side Zancian tactics. Congratulations, your bias is still showing through, and you ruined an entire mode to appease these whiny, crying survivors. This was supposed to be fun because nobody could see. Everyone's wandering around in the dark. So congratulations. Chaos Shuffle. At first, I didn't see anything wrong with this, and then JC Glitchmaster made a video, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I understand why everyone's mad now. Because I don't really play Sadako that much. Yeah, there are add-ons that will killers over. Add-ons that will take away Sadako's condemned. Or ability to condemn. You get that, you're screwed. Thinking about trappers, bear traps, padded jaws, you get padded jaws. Well, screw you, I guess. This is not good. This is going to make killers not want to play, just out of, or DC. Because if they get an add-on or perk combo that completely goes against them, that completely destroys their power, completely stops them from actually playing, they're not going to want to play. Now, 2v8, you haven't added anything yet. I've heard rumors you're going to add head-on. You do that, you're going to ruin 2v8. It's already insanely survivor-sided, and that's why killers are only doing it in pairs now. Like, you are pushing everything so survivor-sided, nobody wants to play killer on any of these. And you don't understand that. Like, what are you doing? Why? I know you listen to survivors, and then you listen to the data, and the data you don't understand how to read because you don't play the game. You look at Reddit, you look at Twitter, you look at Twitter, X, whatever. You see what they're crying about, and you change it, and then nobody on the other side wants to play. You cannot have this game with survivors only. What are you doing? Because I guarantee you this, if you get a killer that's just tired, and I saw this in the event, killers do not like being pushed down, they do not like being the punching bag, and they will play as hardcore and sweaty and ruin it for the survivors too. They will put on Zanishin tactics, and they will make survivor lives miserable. Because you're deciding to do this, and you're not balancing it out. Why should only one side do this? You never learn, and that is the problem with you people at behavior. You don't understand, you don't listen to people who know what they're talking about. You listen to the whiners. You listen to the ones who are crying and whining. They X, Y, and Z, they can never escape. They need this, they need that, they want this. And then you give it to them, and then Swift's abuse out of it, and solo queue is still as miserable as ever. Now let's get to what, because I was already really pissed off at most of this. But then let's see what really set me off. Fixed an issue where the animatronic, the Blighted Springtrap's mouth animation, was unable to be seen at the end of the killer's Mori. You decapitated him. How? And I've seen it on Reddit. I've had people, a lot of like game designers and 3D modelers have said the same thing. How are you so incompetent? And how are you so bad that you fix an animation and then get rid of the entire head of the suit? Like, that should be borderline impossible, and yet you've done it. Look at what you've done, behavior. Your incompetence has beheaded Springtrap. You have literally decapitated him. When you go to pick Blighted Springtrap, his body is there, his knife is there, his head is not. And when you choose the Blighted Springtrap skin, you get his default skin. Which is why you had to kill switch it. Because you somehow f***ed it up so bad, you couldn't choose Blighted Springtrap. His head's gone. His body's there. His body can't be chosen. Look at what you've done. Nobody seems to know how you managed to do this. Modelers don't, 3D animators don't, game designers don't. This is a special level of incompetence. All you had to do was fix an animation. And then put his head back. And somehow you forgot to put his head back. And now his entire skin can't be selected. And now you kill switched him. Yeah, this kill switch came out the next day after you decapitated him. Due to an issue affecting the animatronic's blighted outfit, we have unfortunately had to disable this item. We are aiming to re-enable this outfit at the first available opportunity. All you had to do is put his head back. Where is he? What have you done to him? Why? Why is this a thing? How? Again, so many people are asking, how did you even do this? It is so impressive that you were able to do this and to understand how you did this. This was not an oopsie. This was incompetence. This is somebody not knowing what they were doing. This is what happens when you fire people who know what they're doing. Now let's look at this piece of shit rift pass you've gotten. Tari's skin is fine. Oh, wait, no it's not. It bugs out when she's hooked. Just like Jake's skin did. Just like Sable's skin did. Because you don't understand apparently how to do cloth physics without the cloth physics having seizures. And let's be fair, this is premium level 2. The free one is bullshit, but the premium level is extra bullshit. So, Deathslinger's mask. This mask is a recolor / reuse. I don't even know if it's recolored that much. That mask, that headpiece, is from the other anniversary. It is slightly recolored. The old one is brighter. Yeah, the Twisted Masquerade. It is literally a recolor of the Twisted Masquerade, and to be fair, the Twisted Masquerade one looks a whole hell of a lot better. It's brighter and more decorative. They literally dimmed it down and called it a new head. And you'll find out for this Rift Pass, they did that a lot. Because they're too goddamn lazy to make something actually worth buying. If you like Tari, maybe that's worth like a $10 skin. But you better really like her. The portraits, whatever. The robe, I think, is new. I don't play Deathslinger. I don't do Deathslinger skins. Yeah, Deathslinger main might know more about it. Now, Michaela's is a recolor. What they did for Michaela was they put together 2 different outfits and called it a new one. And then recolored it. The hair is reused, the top is reused, the bottom is reused. They're just from different skins. I know that because I have Michaela skins that those are copies of. Because like I said, I started playing a lot more Survivor. See, there's the bottom. It takes me a while to figure out where this is. There's the headpiece. There's the chest. They literally recolored and reused them. And if you're wondering, well, that still takes work. No, it doesn't. All you gotta do is go into the texture map and change the texture. It might be like 10 minutes of work. It's the laziest bullshit I've ever seen. And they expect you to pay for that when you can just remake that. Now, yeah, it's a different color. They just reused assets. Went in, changed the textures. They want you to pay for this. Trickster. The exact same thing. They just took it and except this, instead of like trying to get away with mashing several outfits together, they just literally used an entire outfit and recolored it. And oh look, there's the exact same outfit. Just a different color. Behavior thinks you're stupid, is what it is. And then they expect you to give them money. They got rid of a good chunk of their animators and art people, and this is what happens. Just like Jason, his animations are clunky as he waddles. He doesn't walk, he waddles. He's missing some in-betweens in his walk. That's what happens when you have people who aren't experienced trying to do. Now, Elodie, she's got new hair, I think. I don't play a lot of Elodie, but I'm pretty sure that's new. So congrats, I guess. I don't think the shirt might be. The pants. Like, all the pants are just reuses. The pants may have not even changed. Now, Knight. As someone who does Elden Ring 2, people are having an absolute fit over this because they're like, oh, it's Melania, it's Melania. Having long red hair does not mean you're copying another game. I hate to tell you that. And if you're talking about the helmet, well, surprise, surprise, FromSoft took heavy inspiration from Berserk. That's Farnace's mask that Melania has in, and it transferred like, get off your high-ass horses. This is not a copy from Elden Ring. And in case you didn't know, while yes, Melania and Mikola do have like connections to plants, Melania's things is butterflies, not roses. Let's get this clear. Having red long hair does not mean you are copying from Elden Ring. Having the winged mask, that came from Berserk first, not Elden Ring. And this is probably the only reason I'm even attempting to do the pass, because I want that helmet on Knight. And I don't even play Knight, but I like it. I'm having fun with it. Probably the most fun I've had in DBD in months. Playing with Knight's long hair. Plagues is an absolute disaster. I hate this skin, and it is in the premium too. You could have done so much with Plague, and she's got some of the most interesting skins for killers. You could have done so much, and you chose to do some of the most boring, bland bullshit I've ever seen. I was also heavy into Egyptology. You could have done so much with her. Look at her other one. Look at her other skins. This one I don't like. I think I got it from a rift too. I think it was on the free end of the rift. No, Autumn Chill. These were rifts. Look at these. These are awesome. The butterfly one was a fan design in a rift. I think that one was free. Yeah, look at how pretty that is. Look at all the parts to it. That is so pretty. But you guys couldn't pull your heads out of your asses enough to give us a good, like, Egyptian-themed skin for Plague. Look at this mess. Having an exposed Plague does not make it nice. If you wanted to go with black and gold and, like, the Bastet theme, you could have done so much more than this right here. This is hot garbage. I'm convinced none of you have ever seen anything Egyptian themed outside of Google. Like, look at her blighted skin. Her sea goat skin. The sea goddess skin. You could have done so much with her. With an Egyptian themed Plague. And you f***ed it up. And it's not because... I don't know if it's because you're lazy. Or you don't know what to do. Or you just fired that many people who were creatives. But this is embarrassing. Cage is whatever. I like the fox mask. Hate everything else. Now, let's talk about this right here. First off, barely anyone ever plays Wraith because he is so far behind. They play him maybe a little bit in 2v8, where he's got someone to help him. I haven't run into a legit Wraith in 1v4 in a year, at least. You know who I do see a lot of? Blights and Ghouls. A few nurses, the occasional Springtrap. I have not seen hags. I have not seen twins. I have not seen trappers. So you make and this skin's not even good. Okay, I am convinced you've never seen anything Egyptian themed outside of Google. I highly suggest go playing Assassin's Creed Origins, and they've actually got 3 gods you can fight: Anubis, Sekhmet, and Sobek. You could have taken inspiration from those, but this is a hot mess. Now, let's get in, because I made a post saying, hey, if you could tell behavior anything, what would you tell them? So let's get to that. What people think of you, behavior. The latest perk designs are beyond trash and have almost zero hope that any of the reworked perks in the next mid-chapter will be better off afterwards, and I 1000% agree. Because you don't know how to rework, you don't know what you're doing, you do not understand the game, you don't understand why people are using certain perks. Because you don't play the game enough to actually understand if you played at all. Which gets to the second one. If they played their own game, I guarantee you that it'd end up last time where multiple parts of the Survivor's kit was immediately nerfed to the ground because they got bullied as a basic killer. What he's talking about, behavior, in case you forgot, because it seems like you guys seem to ignore this, but Matthew Cote, and he went against that 4-man Swift as Hag. Back when there was, like, no holds barred on fucking flashlights. And he got bullied live. How long did it take for y'all to nerf flashlights? A week after that? Maybe you guys need to start doing that yourself. Get on Trapper, and only Trapper, and then go against, like, Team Eternal. And see how well that works out for you. Because you guys look at solo queue bullshit. I play solo queue, and I can still escape. Whether through its hatch or the door, it's not that hard if your teammates aren't brain dead. Do I lose? Yeah. Do I win some? Yeah. That's the way it's supposed to be. It is not supposed to be 100% escape every single time. That's what you don't understand. And then when you get Swifts who abuse your hand-holding bullshit And as a high MMR killer, I will tell you they will abuse the ever-living out of it. And then you take your sweet time in fixing anything that might be broken. I got 900 cakes of Springtrap. I'm playing him until P100, and I'm playing as sweaty as humanly possible, as he should. Because right now, it is a sweat fest if you play killer. If you play killer, that's not low MMR going against baby survivors, it is a sweat fest. And it's not hard to get up there in the high MMR as killer, because as a survivor, I'm not that great. But we've been getting baby killers, while my other teammates are P100 trios. That those killers should not be going against, who clearly don't know how to handle them. I watched a killer last night get bullied, and I'm surprised he didn't DC because I was the solo in a trio, and they were bullying that poor killer, and all I had to do was gent. The other three were just sitting there bullying him. That is the toxicity you have created. Behavior. That behavior needs to play their own game again, like last time it nerfed flashlights. Yeah, the sauna rock thing. Yeah, Vigil is untouched. Visual isn't being untouched so much as Vigil's getting a numbers change, which is bull. It does not need a numbers change. It needs a rework. Again, I've said this 100 times. Rework it or get rid of all the that it affects, especially the killer stuff. You want it to do exhaustion? Fine, but do not let it do all the other bull. Vigil is, I see Vigil, and I will run it, but when I don't run it, I still see the damn thing. Yeah. Oh, this one, because I was complaining about this the first time. It's a legendary, Blighted Springtrap is a legendary skin. No extra voice lines, no animations. We just got a skin. Which, to anyone who wants to moan about that, the Springtrap, Blighted Springtrap is the exact same cost as, say, well, Cheryl's my main survivor, so, Sybil. So, you get a new skin, you get a new voice. Lisa, you get a new voice, you get a new skin. But for Blighted killers, we're supposed to pay the exact same for just a skin, nothing else. Oh, yeah, and they're still mad that you decapitated Blighted Springtrap. Glitch Trap, because Glitch Trap has got survivors crying and whining and moaning. And it is so difficult to take anyone seriously about how quiet, despite the fact that you don't have to be able to actually hear Springtrap. The door is pretty loud when he comes out. His footsteps are loud. So, because survivors can't be bothered to learn how to listen for the door or see the glitching on the panel, you literally took Glitch Trap, who's, I believe, the biggest of them, or at least the tallest, and you made him incredibly loud. He is louder than the base skin now. That was unnecessary. Now let's get to the bullshit that you haven't fixed with Springtrap yet. Axe bugs. We've got a bug now where his axe drags the ground again. You fixed it and it came back. Shocker. There was a bug where you just couldn't use your axe the entire game. You would throw it and then you couldn't recall it and you couldn't use it. There's a speed transition bug where when you throw the axe, you do not shift speeds. You get stuck in 4.4. So you're a 4.4 M1 killer. You can recall it, but then if you throw it, it's a gamble if you'll be stuck in 4.4 or if you'll actually be able to go to 4.6. Because that bug is so prevalent. Now, if in case anyone's going to say, well, you don't know that, yes, I do. Because when he throws the axe, there's a tiny animation where he slows down and then he speeds back up. When you throw the axe and the bug happens, you don't slow down and then speed back up. You literally get stuck in that movement speed of 4.4. There's no like in between of the slow down and speed up. You get stuck in 4.4. And since it takes you 6 seconds now to recall it, you'll be stuck as a 4.4 M1 killer. Yeah, that one is really damaging because his entire kit is built around his speed transition and his doors. But guess what? His doors are bugged too. Normally, when you go into a door, you see an aura if a survivor is in the door and traveling through the door. You see the door they went into, it turns yellow. The door they're coming out of turns yellow. That no longer happens. That is bugged. The auras do not change. And then, when a survivor is traveling through the door, you can hear the door beeping. But now, the doors don't beep either. You lost all information of the survivors traveling the door, so they can use the doors as much as they like, and you will never know it. You don't have the audio cue, you don't have the visual cue anymore. Those are bugged. His speed transition, bugged. His axe, bugged twice. He is borderline one of the most bugged killers right now. And the doors and the axe are what his kit is based on, and both of those are bugged. His speed bugged, his axe bugged, his doors are bugged. It's so bad, it makes him incredibly difficult to play. Because now survivors have a free teleport. They can just get away with it. Because you don't know they're in there. And the times I do actually catch somebody in the door, it's 1000% luck. Or I was just moving to another part of the map and they just decided to move to the same part of the map as me. Because I didn't know they were in there. I had no indication. His speed is bugged. Now it does correct itself sometimes. One match, I went the entire match as a 4.4 killer because the bug would not leave me alone. And then once I got it, and then it never came back for the rest of the match. And then I had 3 matches and it never came back. So it is very inconsistent. It just happens. He needs help, behavior. And not this bull that you keep trying to do. He needs an extreme bug fix. And not these bull bugs that nobody gives a about. Was the blighted skin Mori annoying? Oh, it was annoying as But I could live with it if I could at least play with the skin. But now you somehow that up too. And like I said, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I open DBD and I just don't want to play. Either side. Because it's just a stressy, sweaty mess. Springtrap is so bugged, he is difficult to play. And then when you try, and then there was another bug, something about like, his axe disappearing during the screaming animation in the lobby. Nobody gave a about that bug. You should have just left it alone. Unless it was somehow making gameplay impossible, leave it alone. Try, and I do say this, try to fix the real bugs. The ones that are affecting his gameplay. Try to not f him up more and fix him. Because I will still see comments on videos where they're saying, yeah, it doesn't feel like he's 4.6. And then I have to turn around and tell them, yeah, that's a bug. He feels slow because he is slow. He's not speeding up. That's a bug. You just haven't fixed it. And I'm sure whatever ass kisser you have on the creator team, that you pay off, is telling you absolutely nothing about Springtrap. Oh yeah, he's fine. I play him once in a while, he's fine. He plays fine. He is not fine. He is busted. He is crippled because you have not fixed real bugs he has. I've said it once, I said it twice. Get rid of whoever you got giving you Springtrap advice, because they are not giving you good advice. And I know you hate anyone who criticizes you. But when he was one of the most asked for killers, and you have destroyed him through all these bugs. So I hope you're happy that he's so broken to play right now. Please get off your asses. Stop paying the creators in the creator program because it's a conflict of interest. They are not giving you the information you need to fix the game. And that's a fact. Because the game is going up in flames. Nobody wants to play killer. And the killers that are played are bugged as shit. Pull your heads out of your asses and fix your game. If you can.